Hi, welcome to another session of Wing Chun. So this is part 3, I guess. Um, Now we've gotten to the stance, and then we've gotten the kowtow. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to just tell you a story. Back in the early '80s. When I learned Wing Chun, when I started to learn Wing Chun. The early 80s. I think 82 to be exact. When I started learning Wing Chun, I was, I think, grade 11. The first thing the Ma Sifu has said to me is that the first 3 months of the training that you come in, it's going to be really boring. I know that you're going to be paying me the fee and I am here to teach you, but you are going to have to survive the first 3 months, and it's going to be the hardest of the training. Why? Because it's going to be as boring as hell. So, sure enough, the first 3 months of the training, every day, or not every day, once or twice a week when I come to the school, I would do absolutely nothing except for that. The stance. And then I would learn maybe this, and then graduated to the straight punch. And that's all I learned. Every day every week I would come in, and I would stand in the corner where everybody is doing a lot of fun stuff and doing all kinds of things. I would be standing in the corner just doing this and doing this, and absolutely nothing else. He goes as far as even new students who come in and starts doing the stands, and after 1 or 2 months, they can't take it anymore. They leave. And my Sifu would just laugh. He goes, "Oh, look at this guy. You know what? He just doesn't have the patience." And he couldn't care less about the admission fees and the fees that the student is paying. Mind you, he's losing a student because he's giving the student the first 3 months very boring stance exercises and straight punches, and he didn't care. He rather have, I guess, less students, but that's the way he trained and that's the way he teach. Okay, because that's the correct way and the right way to teach. Because your foundation is one of the most important things about any kind of martial arts. If you don't know how to stand on your own 2 feet, forget it. It's game over. No matter how good your arms are and how well you can punch, if you don't have a good stance, you're nothing. If your foundation of a building is crooked, then your building's going to topple over. So if you have ever watched any kind of martial arts movie, you would see that the first thing the Sifu would teach you is how to do the horse stance. And they would put bows and burning incense on your thigh and water to make sure that you don't fall. And basically that has to be burned into your system so that you would have this solid foundation of your stance, and that will in turn in the future help you in everywhere. And up to today, when people ask me, where are you from? What school you come from in the city? And I say Ma Si Fu. And there's a certain amount of respect that they understand because they know that people come out of this school have very good foundations because the teacher taught it the old way, which I see a lot of people nowadays, a lot of schools. I know it's a time, because it's 2020, every student wants everything today. I want to learn Chamkyu today. I want to learn Sil Lim Tao today. I want to learn Chamkyu tomorrow, and I want to learn Byoji next week. And by next month, I want to learn the dummy. So really, tell you the truth, Sil Lim Tao needs a year to learn. You have to take your time to learn it. Today, I see a lot of people, they learn the whole curriculum, and they can do the whole curriculum badly, and they learn everything badly. They could do everything, and they could do everything badly. That's all I can say. And they don't have the right idea, and they learn the wrong thing. It's funny. It's funny. Even I thought only in the West that they are learning it wrong, but even it looks like in China, a lot of people are impatient, and that they are learning it wrong, and they are learning it way too quickly, and they don't really understand how the movements are to be used, and that's a huge problem. And they don't have the foundation because they don't put in the hard work. So what is the hard work? The work is that for this stance, this funny looking stance, you're supposed to do 5 minutes of this stance in the beginning, say for the first week. Every day you get into this stance and you just stand there for 5 minutes. Now it's really good today because we have our phones, so you can open your phone and you can watch a video while you stand. Okay, so maybe minus one arm, so you can watch your phone while you go into this stance. So for 1 week you do 5 minutes a day. The next week you do 10 minutes a day, then 15, and eventually you graduate to about half an hour. And if you can every day put yourself into this stance for half an hour, by the time you get to half an hour, it would be several months down the line. Okay, so now that is what you have to put into. Why in Wing Chun do we train this way? Because we're actually trying to reprogram your natural reflex. Because when people give you pressure, your natural reflex is to try to fight against it. And then when you stiffen up and you try to fight against it when somebody is giving you pressure, then all your center of gravity is up here on the top rather than at the bottom. So when you go like this and you try to fight against pressure this way, and you don't sink into your Wing Chun stance with your knees pointed and your pelvic hip forward, your gravity and your muscles hardening from the top, trying to be tough when you get a pressure here, whether if it's a hand out here and you're hitting something or you're protecting yourself, whatever. If you try to be like this, your center of gravity, if somebody is easily bigger than you are, he's going to push you back and you're just going to fall. It would be so easy if you have no weight on your legs, and when you bring your center of gravity up to the shoulders, it's really easy for you to topple over one way or another. So that is why we try to do this stance, sit into this stance until you are comfortable in this stance. so comfortable that this stance becomes the default of your normal stance. And as soon as something comes, oh, and you get out of it, or suddenly you see something coming, you get a Wing Chun stance, and you start moving. So how often did I use the Wing Chun stance? I just used it now. I'm standing here one more time. I'm standing here. Something is coming at me. I don't know what it is. Wing Chun stance. Backward move. Backward step. With the cross hand. So, did I use the Wing Chun stance? Yes. Wing Chun stance. Backwards. Or if you're attacking and you feel the pressure, you could lean forward, because this is in the real world. You could lean forward, but if you get an attack, Wing Chun stance, attack. So that's how that stance is to be used. What is not to be used is somebody who goes into Wing Chun stance already and then just stands there. And then when he attacks, he moves up, and as soon as he moves up, he gets in, he sees the guy within range, then he gets into the Wing Chun stance, and then he punch. But the Wing Chun stance is a stance. So it's a stationary stance. And when you're fighting, there's no such thing as stationary, because as soon as you throw the punch, the guy's going to back up. So they move up to the guy, and then they do the Wing Chun stance, and then they try to do the chain punch. So as soon as you move up, the guy already moved backwards. So when he goes into the stand and he starts punching, it's no use. Or when somebody punches them, they go into the Wing Chun stance and then they don't move, they don't shift, they don't advance, they don't retreat, they just sleep in the Wing Chun stance. And then they just become a statue. And then they just get pounded. So that's why these people, they don't understand, and they are not using the stance properly. They're overusing it, which I think they really didn't understand how how to use these moves. Because when you fight in real life, it's not how you do in practice. Those are training exercises. So the Wing Chun stance is a training exercises that will help you to fight in regular posture. This is a weird posture to go into, and this weird posture will help you in the real world in your natural posture. And then you can use the stance momentarily when you get pressure, but you can't live in this stance. It's not a stance you can live. You live in the stance in the school, because we have to train you to get into the stance. So that in the school, every time you come in, I force you to do this stance for half an hour. But that doesn't mean that in training you do the stance for half an hour, you see. So I guess that's the difference that a lot of people doesn't understand. Have somebody, pretend to punch you, and suddenly you put your hands up like this. You put your hands up like this. It's a cow cha sao. See? Cow cha sao. So burn that into your memory, your muscle memory. And until then we can now move into the next step of the Sil Lim Tao. All right, have fun watching, practicing, whatever. I got to do something to fill up our time at home with the pandemic, and wear a mask. And when you go out, stay safe, and see you next time. Bye.